Welcome, everyone. It's the Mike Tech Show, show number 966. Tonight, some stories from the trenches, including the AWS outage this week. I have to talk about that. And then continuing with more Windows 11. How about a great trick to unlock an account and get to computer users and groups from an admin standpoint in Windows 11, where it kind of hid it. And I'm going to show you how you can get to it. Had some troubles with some installing 25H2 on a system, and then I had a bunch of systems where it was no issue. And some new things that came with 2011, Windows 11 25H2 that I want to demonstrate. And then a listener shared another file sharing option, so I want to talk about that. But first, Instant House Call. This is where, if you are a professional, an IT professional, and you need remote access, you need to try out Instant House Call. Go to MikeNation.net. You can click right on the ad on the left-hand side or the orange link in the show notes. Click that and it'll bring you to all the detailed information where you can get their first year at an unbelievable, incredible price. One of the features, and I have it scheduled for Saturday, is their sub-accounts. Remember, I talked about that, where you could make money by reselling the sub-account because the sub-account's free. I have a client that reached out. She's going to have some surgery next week. And then when she gets back, she's only going to be in overnight. But when she gets back home, she needs to work. And while she's recovering, and she needs full access to her computer. So we arranged for Saturday while she's at home. I'm going to call her at 10 a.m. and literally set up Instant House Call and teach her how to do it. So I'll connect to both systems and then show her how to use it and how to transfer files, and it's perfect. So wanted to share that. We thank Instant House Call for being a sponsor of this show. So in the trenches, let's deal with the AWS outage this week that started on Monday, but I think continued further during the week. That went a little bit unreported, but I started seeing things that was just brutal. And I want to talk about that. It affected a significant portion of global internet services, with outages beginning in the early hours of October 20th. The incident originated in AWS's the US East 1 region, which is Northern Virginia. And it's the company's largest and oldest data center hub. And it led to incredible amount of failures across banking, gaming, retail, government services, major consumer platforms like Snapchat, Roblox, and even Amazon.com itself. So what was the cause of these technical details? So I put together a list of some things. The outage was triggered by a technical update to the DynamoDB API that introduced an error affecting DNS resolution. And remember, and Winston Wolfe, as he hears this, he's just going to laugh because, and Jason Miller, any experienced tech, it's always DNS. It's always DNS. I passed around a great logo I found that, you know how they have that kind of smiley swoop, for their, well, it was an upside down one and had DNS. And I thought that was just spectacular. Hey, I should have used that for the graphic for tonight's show. Anyway, that it prevented applications from reliably locating the service endpoints. So, you know what else that also tells me? Where was the change control? Anytime there's a big outage, it's a user error. So where was the testing? Where was that test environment that they get to that they should have really just beat it up and then had a quick back out plan that works? Man, when I was in big organizations in the corporate world, there's no way I would approach anything without going through a change control process. We didn't even allow like a batch file to be edited on a server unless you went through the change control process and approval and showed the back out plan. What is the worst that can happen and how quickly can we remediate? I'll tell you, going through a true change control process, we've stopped changes and delayed them because there wasn't enough testing or the backup was not in place as good as we wanted to see it, so where they could flip and go back quickly. As DynamoDB failed 113 AWS services across that US East 1 began to cascade offline, disrupting downstream services and microservices dependent on the region and its DNS infrastructure. The root DNS issue meant applications could not reach critical data backend components, resulting in widespread connection errors. Now, I didn't see LogMeIn listed, but I don't think it's a coincidence that Monday morning I had multiple people who rely on that. They couldn't connect, where I know Instant House Call worked. I know my Synchro worked. So just beware of that, So it depends what is the application using for their infrastructure and what's their backup? That if AWS does go down, where can they flip to something else to where they're hosted? So it was really bad, and to be DNS, so the scope and the impact, the U.S. alone was 6.3 million reports that were logged. The U.K. was 1.5 million. So consumers faced issues accessing banking apps, shopping, social media, smart home. I know websites like AT&T and T-Mobile were impacted. So the recovery timeline, and this is where I don't think they're telling the truth. The first error rates began overnight in Virginia, with regional impacts peaking as Europe and North America came online. AWS signaled mitigation of the DNS DynamoDB issue around 9:22 UTC and declared restoration in core services a short time later. I don't believe that. There was still a lot of things that it took before they were reachable. They may have thought they fixed the issue, but before it hit the downstream and everything working and maybe the new DNS propagating, that took time. Lessons learned. This is interesting. The incident echoes other high-profile cloud and internet infrastructure outages, revealing ongoing risks of concentration of single points of failure. AWS cloud customers and industry observers highlighted the importance of multi-region architecture, dependency diversification, and enhanced incident readiness. I want to go back further than that and someone give Amazon a lesson in doing proper change control management. Very simple. Simple to talk about and to write up, difficult to put into practice and implement and get everybody to follow that. So to me, it's easy. You follow it or get fired. So they have to test more. And we've seen this Microsoft lapsing with their tests for their updates. Man, what I go through with Office updates and killing me with clients and problems and, the Windows updates that we get that are bad that because they didn't do enough testing. Yes, testing costs money, but you got to do it. You can't skip steps. And that's why I wanted to cover this, because there's a big lesson there. And okay, you're not as big as AWS, but you're in an organization. if you're going to make a change, go through a change control process. If you want a sample of that, email me, miketechshow@gmail.com. I'll give you a generic change control that can map you through. You don't need to use everything, but it's going to give you the idea of what to do. You can Google that and find it, online. You have to do the proper practice, and then you got to have the backup plan, and you got to test, and you need a test environment. Problem is, this is so big. Where is their test environment? Do they have one? Yes, it costs money and it costs time, but then you prevent this kind of a reputation and image. You're a big company and you're thinking of, what am I going to do for my storage, for my cloud services? AWS just went through this. What if I'm looking at somebody else? They're going to lose customers because of this, because now their customers' reputations are impacted because they were down. Yeah, I don't, if I'm using ABC app and they happen to be married to AWS infrastructure and they go down, I'm blaming ABC. I don't care how much they scream it was their AWS. Well, guess what? You should have been more diversified with your application or your website. You should have been split between AWS and other places. So this way you wouldn't have been impacted. So that's the message. And I had to go through a few things, not as much, but certainly there were problems on Monday that I had to deal with that I wish I had the time to deal with other things rather than that. So what else is going on from the trenches? Employee cybersecurity awareness training via Zoom. I had 2 great sessions. I had one today and I had one on Tuesday with all of my clients' employees. We're going over, I posted up weeks ago the basics of the slideshow in a PDF. So you can go back to a couple past shows and actually take a look at what the, take a look at the what I'm doing. Now, certainly I add more screens and tailor it to that particular company. But in general, you have a pretty good footprint to begin with. So take a look at that, because if you're not doing that for some of your customers, you're leaving money on the table. So just think about that. Something I had to do last night for one of my clients, and I know it's that time of year because it's October and November, I get hit with compliance for clients where they have to prove the firewall is being monitored. So I take some of the reports and I get them summarized, and I have a template that I use to communicate that they'll pass on to who's asking for it. And usually it's financial advisor and it's their broker dealer that's asking for this. So I have reports I was working on last night, and the firewalls are all Untangle Arista. So easy. I have it all down for the reports. We are continuing massive system rollout of systems that Windows 10 being upgraded to Windows 11, where we're replacing the computer. My son was just on site all day today with 8 systems, and then he did 8 systems on Tuesday. And that's why with the outage that happened yesterday, and I was pretty sure it was internet because I checked with the Pico for Pennsylvania, and they said there was no outage at my house, but the internet's down, and I have nobody there. So I can't even really report the outage or anything. We're going to do that tomorrow when my son is on site, but no one was on site today. So I couldn't, I can't just do this remotely from down here in Florida. So I'm going to wait till tomorrow, because when he rebooted the router, it's still a red light. The ONT looks good, has the lights. So we don't know what's going on. So all we know is the main router, the Verizon Fios router, is offline. So that's why there's it hinders me a little bit for some of the things I want to do tonight for my test system. I can't access my music library for the post show or the pre-show. So just a little minor inconvenience until I get that up and running. But this continuing to roll out multiple systems, and there's still more work ahead of us. So, and we knew this was going to happen, and we knew clients were going to wait to the last minute. So, it is what it is. I am going to demonstrate. I want to highlight, hold on, and show you a tool that you may not realize that came with the 25H2 update. So what I'm going to do is right click, run, and I'm going to paste. And I'm pasting let me make sure it's there, lusrmgr.msc. This is part of Windows 11. If you want to, you ever wondered what happened to the local users and groups? Well, here it is. You type the local and user and groups local, and you get, this is where you can, go to the groups, add whoever you need to go into the groups. I'm not going to show you the users, but there you go. Something else that came in. So what we're going to do is we're going to CMD and we're going to run it as an administrator. Now, what I'm going to do is type edit, EDIT. This is added in 25H2. I think only the Pro, by the way, only the Pro version has these. There you go. You have a complete file, like DOS-based, new file, open a file, save it, close, edit, undo, find and replace, select all, view, and help. Let's click help about for a minute. Microsoft Edit version 1.2.1. I mean, I know it's silly, it's a little thing, but wow, a DOS editor as part of the update. And I thought that was pretty cool when I read that. And I'm like, all right, just something that I wanted to quickly share. Keep in mind that the Pro version, and I always try, even if it's a home user, I want them to have the Pro version. So, because, that's just one little thing you may never need, but that user may never need. But remember, when you do run that, if the account is locked, you can then go into the users, right click on the account and unlock it if they got locked out themselves. So we always have a backdoor separate admin account that we don't call admin, but it's an account that we have access with a complicated password on every system that we roll out, because we can remotely log in with my Synchro RMM. We can remote to a terminal session as an admin, and then I can use command line to do things. So just keep that in mind, having the Pro version and having some of these things are good. I want to share a link again that it might have been a couple months ago when I had to force 24H2 to be installed on my Windows 11 system down here, because I only got to 22H2. It did simple updates, but it never did the feature update to go to 24H2. And one of the things that I often talk about is the process on how to force the upgrade. And I had to do this for my laptop, and I don't understand why. It kept failing on the 25H2. Now, these instructions are forcing the 22H2, but it works the same way. Here's the instructions. You have to go to the global policy, so the GP edit. Now remember, that's only available in Windows Pro. Now there is a workaround that you can search for, that you can get GP Edit in a home version. You got to go through the whole process. Now you go to Local Computer Policy, Computer Configuration, Administrative Templates, and Windows and Components, and then Windows Update, and then Manage Updates offered from Windows Update. Okay, so this is the screen you're eventually looking for. And what you want to do is, it's going to be not configured. So you want to click Enable, and then you want to put Windows 11 in this one field, and then the second field, remember this link will be in the show notes, I put 25H2. Now you got to force the update when you're done. So what you do is, after you save it, then you, let's go all the way down. There is, what's the command to force update? So you don't even have to reboot. I know it's in here on the, so let's go enabled. Give me a second here. I forget. There's the command line. You then, it's a /force update, for the policy. And once it's updated, and I think mine became available, and I didn't even run that command. But when you go to Windows Updates, it's going to be there ready to download. Now, all the times that failed and I did it, now when I clicked on it, the update worked. And I was able to get to 25H2. One of my goals this past weekend was to get to all of my personal systems, getting them updated to 25H2, and my test system at Pennsylvania and my main system, the original beast, I made 25H2. I made this system 25H2. The system, my Surface Pro, that I had to use the bypass is 25H2. And then the last was my laptop, and that was fairly new laptop. I was shocked that it kept failing and kept not installing it. So once I forced it, it worked great. So just another thing to keep in mind when you are updating. And maybe it's a client, maybe it's something else. That was me. So excuse me. Let's see. Now, listener email, a follow-up to last week. And this is from Daryl. And he has two links here. He has pCloud for business, and then also storage pricing plans for lifetime. And he goes, I used it over the past few years because the individual plan has a one-time payment for lifetime license. So let's bring up the websites for this, and I will show you. And this is another cloud server service, and you can share files. And the business, you can have 3 users, 3 terabytes, and it's $29.97 per month, and that's just $9.99 per user. And then a terabyte of storage per user, pCloud encryption, secure file sharing. Hey, a very reasonable price. They have the Pro with more storage that's $44.94. But now I wonder if we have the same. It's a one-time payment of 500 gig. But here you go, a one-time payment with a $399, and you get 2 terabytes. So this, I would like to take a look at that just to see, how good is it? How's the, shared link traffic? So I'm thinking about that just to test it out, but I want to get like a training account or a temporary account to give it a try and like kick the tires. So I might go for, how long of a contract here? Like, can I just go month to month and sign up. I'll pay more for 1 month, and they do have a try it for free. Let's click on that. So let's see. So you have to set up, but you get free use for 30 days. You know what? This is a great way to kick the tires and try it out. Share some files and see what it's all about. I want to thank Daryl. This is a service I was not aware of. And if you know of any, hey, email me. And that's miketechshow@gmail.com. I would greatly appreciate it. And that's anything that you want to share with me. I will get it onto the air and talk about it. That is it for this week's show. I want to thank everybody for listening and staying subscribed and listening to the podcast and also watching it on YouTube. Hey, if you go over to YouTube, please smash the subscribe button and help me out by subscribing. And that's at youtube.com/Michael Smith MTS. And I would greatly appreciate it. So if you can't, I just got a text from a client. So I will reach out. It might shorten the post show here because this is a story that I've been working on since yesterday that I didn't want to talk about yet until this is resolved and how I resolve it. And then it's going to be a topic for next week, and it involves indexing around Outlook 365. So this is an important client of mine, and he just texted me because he doesn't realize I'm doing the show tonight. Anyway, that's why I happen to look down. I got my iPad in front of me, so if important text does come up, I get to read it. So that's it. And just remember, check out Instant House Call and, try it out. It's so inexpensive. And you even get a free trial if you want to just kick the tires and play with it for a couple days. Hey, that is the way to go for remote access, for clients, for family, for people within the company. And if you go to MikeNation.net, that's where all the show notes are. That's where all the info for the shows, all the links. And there's a real important link there that's labeled donations, and it takes you right to PayPal. And we greatly appreciate your donation to help support the show, the podcast, everything that it takes to produce it, post it, and keep it online. Thank you, and I'll see you next week. Same time, same channel. Bye-bye.